So this idea of, entropy it's inevitable, right? It's
What you wanted to tell them what entropy is?
well, let me provide the definition. I know we have to define terms. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And a lot of the things that we say, they can always refer to the previous videos. Everything that we do is loosely built on top of each other. Yeah. So just check out the previous podcast.
So it is a system of a lack of order or predictability, right? Where gradual decline, into disorder, it's gonna happen, right? But it's a necessary condition for rebalance,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It is the opposite reaction to restoring, what you would say, good order and discipline, right? So, this rhythm in the earth, it happens. Mm-hmm. That's what it does. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing more than ebbs and flows, if you will. Mm-hmm. But to this point, right? What I've recognized as far as like a principle within the earth, this state of awareness has always been available, right? The same holds true for if you want to accept the idea of the giants being in the land and that state of awareness being available as well, right? So, well, what now then?
All right.
What now? Mm-hmm. After all the books and all the dissecting of the scriptures and the acquiring of studying languages or
going to some type of
something
every Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever.
And I remember something that I used to hear elders say, like when I was growing up, man. They was like, if you live long enough, the earth will lend you something.
Okay, it's the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah, and what that something was, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. But as I'm working through my experience, my own personal experience, right? I'm leaning towards the understanding that vision, perception is given unto you as you continue to live.
Right.
As you continue to accept the truths that come through your experience. Right? So, yeah. Come in the volume of the book.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing is when you even, take it back to the storyline of they going into the land, what as individuals should be seeing is the teachings in the book is about your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You know what I mean? And like, there are several anomalies on the front stage right now. Right?
Right.
That are, they when I say they, I'm talking about these different paths, if you choose to deal with them, right? That really want attention.
Right.
Follow what I'm saying? So as to perhaps maybe even be a distraction of some sort. You know what I mean? But it's again this lane of entropy is just it's growing, and I hear people asking why, what do I do, where do I go, who do I turn to? I was in the church, I was in the synagogue, I was in the mosque, you know what I'm saying, I was here, I was there, right? And it really bespeaks of the principle that everything that you need is already inside of you.
Right, exactly. It's already there.
Hence you coming in the volume of the book.
Right. Because it's written of you. But we don't see that, but only, let me say that. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, you do.
Only great teachers make other people see themselves in that book, or see themselves, or see themselves, or help them see themselves in that book, or any other book.
That's what I'm about to say. I like what Kazak said. I come in the
Right.
volume of all books.
In all books, even the books that are not written, you come in the volume of
You
because
do.
you're the one writing them.
We are the ones writing.
Well,
them.
we are the ones
Right.
writing
Yeah,
them.
We're all aspects of the great I am.
Right.
exactly.
So when you tell me that you're not God, then I'm a different. My conscious level is totally different than most people that's here that need to be saved from their sins or whatever that is to them. I don't
Right.
know. So my conscious level is a little different than that. When it comes to any book that I read, because I've read a couple of books that it really didn't vibe with me, but I know I come in the volume of that book too. I used to come in the volume of that book.
Right.
I have just elevated myself from that consciousness of that book to move away from those different thoughts that book. Now, if I would have read that book when I was 25 or something, oh yeah, I would have. Oh yeah, that's me. Oh, let's get it. Let's get this revolution going.
Right.
But when I read it now, I'm at a totally whole different conscious of understanding. I'm like, bro, that book don't even vibe with me, or it don't set those type of things out in me anymore. I was like, nah, that book is
It's distinguishing relative properties from absolute properties. Right? That though you come in the volume of all books, right? It's obviously is going to be relative to the consciousness. Something you used to say like a while back, like we all one decision away from the other path.
right.
Whatever that is.
Right. Man, I was just listening to something actually this week going on what you were saying. It's like if we all come to one consciousness and we don't need to eat anymore and we're all into that consciousness, we don't have to eat to survive. But everybody has to be on that same consciousness. So if you're not on that same consciousness, of course now you're gonna have these foods that come up.
You're talking
So you
about it's actually I forgot something Berg experiment, or it has to do with like if a group of one monkey on this side of the world learns a certain thing, then simultaneously on the other side of the world,
Right.
all the other monkeys will start picking up
doing
those
it.
traits and those habits.
Right. It's just like
Because it's we have a collective unified field, or collective unified consciousness.
right, exactly. So it's just like we could go back to one of the old podcasts when I was talking about the bird that went into the store and got the food, right? But Adon just showed me another video with the same type of bird, but I'm guaranteed it ain't the same bird.
Okay.
And he went in a whole different store and did the same thing.
Okay.
So somebody's learning something in the consciousness of them birds.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So when we're all becoming one, that's why we as a people, we needed to be saved. So that conscious level has been here for what, 2000, almost 2000. Well, I don't want to say it's been that long. Maybe a little shorter, because I think that's kind of it started.
It's the institution of what we understand
Right.
Roman Catholicism stuff is
Right.
it was something going on before, like in the early the first, second century, but by the first century, by the second century, that's when they started institutionalizing the teachings or the understandings of who Jesus was or wasn't, and made it I don't want to say institution, but Roman Catholicism,
Right.
where they voted on a lot of things that people believe today.
Right.
Because before that, it wasn't
that.
everybody didn't believe the same thing,
Exactly.
or the same way.
Right.
It's interesting because going back to what I said initially on the baseline, I could say the same thing on a different way,
Right.
which is we all come from the source. Right, we all originate with the source, and I don't think anybody could disagree with that. We all spirits come from the Great Spirit,
Right.
and then we descended right? We descended from a oneness or a unity into individualization.
Now we have broken apart on some, because some ain't gonna take that one.
That's fine.
Right.
That's fine. I understand.
Right.
So the story of Adam or Adam, he's close to God, or he's close to that godly consciousness.
Come on.
But the story is told as if it's the lower him and a higher aspect of him, right?
Right.
And then Adam, and Adam means mankind. It's one of the definitions of Adam means mankind.
Right.
And then something happened. We talk about the serpent, which was wiser and more subtle than all the creatures that the creator, or in this book, Yahweh Elohim, or the Lord God in some interpretations, created.
Right.
I would say that aspect is your evil inclination, your negative inclinations, or whatever the case may be. But whatever that was caused him to do a thing, we call it transgression, from his higher self.
Right.
A higher knowing. And then, well, actually, even before that, it was a duality, because he was Adam and Eve, or masculine and feminine principles. And then because of this transgression from the higher self, he fell into matter. He descended.
Right.
And then from that point, he kept descending.
Right.
Hence, descendants.
Right. Exactly.
So one of the biggest things, and this is still on topic, is that, we consider ourselves Hebrews or so on and so forth.
Right.
So it's a constant looking back, and a lot of people, they're looking back on genealogy.
Right.
Which is, I need to find out who I descend from.
Right.
And this is not mine. I got this from a guy named Tone. You know what I'm saying? He said, why would I continue trying to find descension or descending when I'm ascended?
Right.
Or I come from the ascended. Why am I not trying to ascend?
Right.
Not try to go back into how did I descend?
Right.
Constantly focusing on the descension. So it's taking that base and now alchemizing or transmuting into a higher state of understanding, a higher states of references, is that we're all trying to find ourselves again.
Right.
And we're all trying to bridge the gap from falling into the love below or dissension, and ascend to the unity consciousness, or the supreme, what we call love, or the divine love. So a lot of people think that based on their consciousness, they think that I love. I love.
Right.
But even in Jesus' time, the things that he was saying, they didn't understand.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The closest ones to him.
Right. Because it says it in there.
They didn't understand. So a lot of people could only get so far. You had those who were in the outer circles and the people that follow him from place to place. Then you had those who were in the inner circle that got closer teachings, and then he expounding on the teachings. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for us, it's like you have the basic understanding, which is for the masses. And then you have that, people don't like hearing this either. Like, I don't like saying secret, but it's for the people that have a higher consciousness of understanding, that I'm going to tell it to them this way.
Well, it's the revelation of the mysteries.
Right.
There you go. But it's the same story.
It's the same story.
It's just the story you can tell a child the same story about Jesus, but you're going to tell a child like he was a loving man, and he had 12 disciples or people that followed him everywhere he went. Right. And you're going to break it down, the same story, to where a child can understand it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But then as the child is growing, they're going to start asking questions.
Right.
So now you have to break it down with deeper understandings, or more complex ways of grasping. So it's overstanding, for lack of better terms, that we're all striving to move towards what we consider the Christ consciousness. And it's not, people think it's new agey. You can call it that. It's fine if you call it that, but it's old information. It's old understanding. It's original understanding. It's just going to be said in a manner for the people of the time. Nothing is good. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it says thou art those and they that. I'm not going to speak old English to an audience where we don't speak that way.
Nah.